On this episode of Broncos Legends, we're catching up with Ring of Fame kicker Jason Elam. Jason, thanks for taking some time to chat with us. We like to start all these off by simply asking, what have you been up to lately?
Oh, man. Well, there's always a lot going on in the Elam household. So, I've got 6 kids from almost 24 years old now all the way down to 6 years old. So there's just all kinds of things happening. My oldest is a pilot in the Air Force now, and got him, like I said, all the way down to kindergarten. So that keeps me pretty busy. We live down in the South Carolina kind of low country area right now. And, I've been doing a lot of stuff. My faith means a lot to me. And so we've been doing a lot of stuff in the Bible translation world, which has been just a blast. COVID has really messed things up with being able to travel. But because it usually involves quite a bit of travel to some pretty amazing, cool places, getting to meet amazing people and awesome cultures. But I love doing that. My wife loves it as well, and it's something our family's been involved with for a long time. So that's kept us pretty busy.
You mentioned that your son is a pilot there. That's something that you got into pretty heavily as well, right?
I did, yeah. So I got my license before I was even with the Broncos. So right out of college, I got my pilot's license, and then kept getting my ratings, my instrument rating and commercial rating and multi-engine rating, my flight instructor certificate, all of that, and just really loved doing it. After I retired from the NFL, we moved to Alaska for quite a while, and I did a lot of flying up there, both commercially and just private. And so my family and all my kids, they really grew up doing that, especially my oldest. And so I remember, I told him, as soon as you can touch the rudder pedals with your feet, I'll start giving you lessons. And so he was always stretching himself as much as he could because he wanted to be able to touch those rudder pedals and start flying. And so my image now is, I still remember him on his first few flights when he was just a little guy. And now he's a C-17 pilot in the Air Force. And so pretty amazing to see what he's done and the accomplishments that he's made.
Can you make it? Then kick it. Here we go.
This will be an attempt of 50 yards. Elam has it on the way. Does it have enough? All right! It is good!
When you look back at your playing career, how would you describe the kind of kicker you were?
Well, that's a great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. I know the kind that I wanted to be. I wanted to be a good teammate, number one. I wanted to be a guy that not just on the field, but off the field, that they could count on me and that I was a good friend. I wanted on the field for them to trust me, and to, when I ran on the field, I wanted them, it made me feel great when they were already celebrating, before a game winner was even kicked. And so that was something that always made me feel great, that I'd earned their trust, that they believed in me. And, I think that was probably the most important thing to me, is that I wanted the trust of my teammates.
You were Mr. Reliable. I was going to ask you, what was it like being on the sideline, seeing, John Elway work this magic out there and then have to go trot out there and finish it off?
Oh, man, it's such a blessing to be able to play. I had awesome teammates. Let me just say that up front. I mean, my teammates were awesome. I got to play with some of the best that have ever played the game. And like you mentioned, John, Shannon Sharp and Terrell and Gary Zimmerman and, Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey. I mean, it just goes on and on. And so, they put me in the position to be able to be successful at times. And so that wasn't me. That was the fact that I played on some amazing offenses over the years. And I just look back on those times, and many years, it was funny because we would be up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter, and so it was just a blast to play on those teams. We were incredibly well coached by Coach Shanahan for most of those years. I could have landed in so many different places, different teams, different organizations, but I truly feel, I got to play with the best organization in all of the NFL, in front of the best fans, and I had the best teammates. And so, I just have amazing memories looking back, for sure.
Come on, baby.
Snap good, placement down. Elam has it on the way, and it is good. That is his 34th career field goal from 50 yards or more.
16th career game-winning field goal, Jason Elam.
It did come down to you a lot of times. What was going through your mind before some of those kicks?
Well, there's so much parity in the NFL. I don't know how many times it'd be, early fourth quarter and maybe we'd be up or down by some weird amount. And I'd kind of be doing the math. I was like, well, if this happens and this happens, it's gonna come down to a field goal. And it's shockingly, that happens so many times. And so, but as a field goal kicker, you gotta try to manage your emotions, and you gotta just go out there and trust your swing. And that was kind of my mentality is, if I swing like this, the ball should go here. It's kind of like a golf swing, and I might miss one from time to time, but I felt very confident that I'm going to make a lot more than I'm going to miss. And you kind of had to have that, you had to have a confidence that was, you didn't go out there cocky, but you had to have a certain amount of confidence in your swing and your ability.
How did you get into field goal kicking? Is that something that you just had a passion for? You were good at that?
I grew up playing soccer, and I went to a varsity football game in high school. I think it was my sophomore year. So I had never played before, and I was watching. I was like, I think I can do that. And so I went out and I had an old football. My older brother, he's about 9 years older than I am, but we had a football from when he played high school ball. And so I got that, and I had a little tee, and I went out to the street and kicked the ball over the power line. And I was like, I think I might try to do this. And so when I went out, it was a lot harder than I thought. I could kick it a long way. That was kind of, kickoffs, I was good. I could kick it a long, long way, but I had no idea where it was going, And so at first I was a good kickoff guy. I was a really good punter. But the field goal thing, that developed over time. And that was something that I really ended up enjoying more than anything. It was challenging. That's where all the dreams are, being the last second field goal and getting to kick that. And so that really appealed to me. And I put a lot of time and effort into trying to refine that over the years. And I'm just thankful that it worked out.
You mentioned it, kicking it a long way. Tell me about that record-setting field goal you hit.
Well, that's interesting because you never go into a game thinking you're going to even have an opportunity for that. And that was an interesting week because Coach Shanahan, he'd never really done this before, but he backed me up on Wednesday during practice and Thursday, our big work days, to 63 yards. And he would always stand right next to me during practice and kind of heckle me and just try to get in my head. And he said, hey, I'm not ever going to let you try any of these things until you prove it to me in practice. And I made all of my 63-yard field goals in practice that week. And so in the game, we were playing Jacksonville, and it was right before half. It was going to be a 58-yard field goal, actually. And we took the delay of game penalty, and I looked over at Coach, and he just kind of smiled at me and wait, try it. And so, I remember kind of getting my spot, backing up, and the fans, I remember I still can kind of hear the fans. They knew what it was. They knew their, NFL trivia, and they began getting really loud because they I think they wanted to see something. And I remember right before the snap, my holder, Tom Ruin, he said, hey, this is for the record, right? And so, and he called for the ball. And so that's the last thing that went through my head was Tom saying that. And, fortunately I hit it really well. And it was a fun time, really fun time. But hey, that's the other thing is there's a lot of kickers out there that have the ability to do that. And certainly these days have the ability to do it. But it was definitely a fun time.
And then, I got to imagine one of the cool experiences for a kicker is kicking off at the Super Bowl. And you had a chance to do that twice.
Yeah, both times actually. That was kind of fun, to get back and just kind of be like, hey, they can't start this game until I get ready to start this game, And so I remember running up to the ball and seeing all of the camera flashes and just right at impact, 80,000 flashes all over the stadium. That was a pretty cool moment. Any moment in the Super Bowl is a pretty cool moment.
Well, Jason, we really appreciate your time, and thanks for catching up here for a little bit.
Hey, awesome. Good to be with you guys.